Yo, what's going down, everybody? Check it out. Welcome back to the channel once again, and as always, highly appreciated, man. Check it out. Today, I'm going to bend you guys' eardrum real quick, and we're going to talk about jigs. I'm going to show you guys some of the jigs I've been using throughout the year, and some of the jigs I'm going to be using throughout the rest of the year. We'll start off with one of the main jigs that I use pretty much year round. I start off with this jig, and that's going to be this bad boy right here. It's going to be the hybrid jig by 6 cents. This is pretty much the 3/8 in the natural crawl, and I bounce back between this one and this one, which is the green pumpkin blue. And these are pretty much the two main jigs that I bounce back and forth from, unless I'm touching some dirtier water. Then I'll jump into something like this right here. Just really depends on the conditions as far as the watercolor I'm gonna be fishing, and really the watercolor, that's where it breaks down on what color jig I'm gonna be fishing. And then from there, depending on the temperature and how hot it is and how cold it is, that's how I'm gonna go determine on what trailer I'm gonna be using throughout the year. And more or less, like I said, I'm going to be bouncing back to this one right here. I'll be throwing something like this on there with a wide, nice little wide kick, wild claw, like these ones right here. This is the bongo. These claws right here give a nice kicking action. They kick off real nice, move a lot of water. I usually start off with something like that, or something like this, which this is the Congo by 6 cents. This thing is badass. This thing got, the arms are a little bit more spread out. The bongo has more of a wild and just loose arms flapping out. These arms are a little bit more wider, and they got a little wild kick, but it's just a little bit more tighter in my opinion. And that's that bad boy right there. I'm throwing this throughout the whole summer. As the months go on and it starts getting colder, and I need something just a little bit more subtle, then I'll tone it down a notch, and I usually bounce into something like this, man. This is the stroker crawl by 6 cents. This little thing right here is kind of like reminds me of a twin tail grub type style bait. Still kicks off, but it's still got a nice little subtle, not too much. I'll jump off into something like that, and then as it gets super cold and we start pushing off to like the months we're in now, into January, February, stuff like that, then I'll get into something like this, a little bit more subtle. Still the same jig. Also, if you notice, the jig sizes are going a little bit smaller. The weight is still the same. The only difference is this skirt. I'm trimming that skirt down. I'm bringing it down, and then I'm picking something with a little bit less action, not so crazy. This is actually the Congo, this bad boy right here, but I took off the outer appendages and I left the inner ones, and you'll be left with those. On this one, I took the inner appendages off, and I was left with the outer ones. So this is what I bump into when I need something a little bit more subtle, not too crazy, but still giving off a nice little kicking action in the back. I'll jump off into something like that. Now, if you can't pick up a bite for nothing, but you still trying to throw a jig and guaranteed to try to and you still trying to throw a jig and make it happen, I'm gonna jump off into something like this, y'all. And maybe not necessarily this color, really just depending where you are, but this color right here, don't let this crazy looking color right here fool you. This crazy color right here, I overlooked it for a long time. This thing right here gets chewed, but I got that paired up with the prawn by 6 cents. You see, this thing right here does not kick off a bunch of water like the stroker crawl or the bongo or even the Congo. This thing right here is definitely a lot more subtle right here. But this thing is super dope, man. You drag it along the bottom, kick it along. Every time it comes down, these little things right here are gonna come and flap and then move back down. But in the water, it's gonna be real nice and subtle. Man, the action is actually crazy on there. It looks like it doesn't have a lot of action, but this thing does, man. But it's subtle, and it gets him to bite every time, man. This is the prawn on the back of that bad boy. And like I said, same thing with this jig right here. It's the same size jig. I fish mostly 3/8. Sometimes I jump it off into a 1/2 ounce, really 3/8 and a 1/2 ounce. Every once in a while, depending if I'm trying to get through something a little thick or some brush or some cover, then I'll jump it off into like a 3/4 ounce, very rarely a ounce jig, but I do here and there every once in a while. I'll show you some of these trailers without the jig so you guys can get a better idea. For those that are been rocking with me or are familiar with 6 Cents, this ain't even nothing new to you. You guys have already seen all these trailers that I'm going to show you and all the 6 Cents trailers that I use, y'all. But for those that are new to the channel, this is the stroker crawl right here. This thing is badass. This is the black and blue. These little things right here, like I said, this reminds me of the twin grub. When this thing gets to moving in the water, it got like this little twin grub feel to it, little vibe to it. This is the stroker crawl, and then you got the bongo. That's the bongo right there. Badass right there. This thing right here, I love the way these things kick off in the water. You could Texas rig these. All these baits that I'm showing you, you could Texas rig them. And I do Texas rig them, but I throw them on the back of my jigs a bunch. And then you got the prawn. This is what the prawn looks like right here. This is the prawn. Check that out. Let's see how the little appendages move around. They still kick and move, but they're very subtle. Look at that. Super dope, man. I got on there. It's plastic. This thing is super dope right here. You got them rib cages right there. So it's going to be moving a lot of water with that right there. And then, last but not least, we got this bad boy right here, which is the crube. This thing is almost like a tube, but kind of got the little crawl style to it. This thing is super dope right here, man. I throw this on the back of a jig as well. And this thing right here, I don't see a lot of people throwing this on the back of a jig, man. But I'm going to tell you right now, these little appendages right here drive them crazy. Look at that. They love that thing right there. They cannot get enough of it. When I throw this on the back of a jig, it's definitely going down. But like I said, you could also Texas rig this, and you're going to knock them dead in the head. As I move into the colder seasons, as I showed you guys, I'll start going to something like this. A little bit more subtle, but still getting action. And then it gets colder than that. I jump off into this right here, the prawn. A little bit subtle, definitely more subtle action than the rest. And then last but not least, I have not even talked about this guy yet or shown you guys. I jump off into this bad boy right here, y'all. This is the ball head Finesse jig by 6 Cents, man. And this thing right here is badass. And I got that paired up with the 2.5 stroker crawl, which is this bad boy's little brother. You see that? Check that out right there. Let me focus in on that. There we go. Check that out. And just so you guys can get an idea, let me bust one out the package. These things right here are badass. Check that out. Boing. There we go. Check that out. Super dope, man. Definitely big difference in size. So I throw that on the back of that ball head jig right there. I'm telling you this right now. From here on out, this thing is going to be tied on and guaranteed. If you guys stay tuned with me and follow me on Instagram, TikTok, or anything, man, you guys are going to be seeing me post some nice solid fish. And if you don't, make sure to follow on all of those platforms, y'all. But let me see. There we go. But yeah, man, that's about it. Real quick before we wrap it up, I'll show you guys the setups I used to throw the jigs, all the jigs I just showed you, starting with the bigger jigs. Pretty much all the jigs I throw until we start jumping off into this little guy right here. All the jigs I showed you, except for this guy, I throw on another rod. But all the rest of the jigs I'm throwing on a 7.2, medium heavy, moderate action. Let me turn this around. ESP rod by 6 Cents. I got that paired up with the Kistler 7.3-1, 17-pound test. Every once in a while, I'll jump up in the 20-pound test if I need to, and I'm in fishing thicker cover and brush and stuff like that, lily pads or anything like that. But beyond that, honestly, I keep it a 17-pound test. Man, Kistler chromium reel 7.3-1, 7.2 medium heavy, moderate action rod right here, y'all. This thing is bad to the bone. badass. Go check them out. Next in line is this right here, and this is the rod I use to throw this little bad boy like I was showing y'all a minute ago. I throw that. This is actually my cranking rod, my crankbait rod, which is a 7.9 medium, moderate fast. I got that paired up with 12-pound test, and I got a 6:6 to 1 gear ratio on this one, because like I said, I throw my crankbaits on this one. Also, I throw my jerk baits on this one, and man, that's what it is. Some people might want to jump it up to a faster reel, 7-speed gear ratio, but honestly, I keep it in the 6. As we get into the colder months, them fish are moving a little bit more slower, and this, I still have enough time to catch up with them, man. They don't shake me like that. But man, that's what it is, man. If I left anything out, you guys got any questions, man, drop me a comment, ask me a question, talk to me, I talk back. I hope I filled everything in. I know probably people are probably thinking like, dang, he didn't show me no ball head, no football jigs. And to be honest with you, I do own a few of them, but I really do not throw football jigs unless I'm fishing out deep, and I rarely fish out deep. I fish them a lot around rock, which I do find rock up shallow, but I'm not going to lie to you, man. This bad boy right here, and that's why they call it the hybrid jig. Let me make sure I'm focusing in on this thing right here. There we go. Let me see. Boom, there we go. Bam, there we go. Alright, y'all, check that out. So, this bad boy right here, it's kind of got like that triangular shape head. Man, but that's why they call this thing the hybrid right here, man, because it's literally like in between a swim jig and a football jig, man. This thing comes through rock exceptionally well. I mean, every once in a while, I'm not gonna lie, it might get stuck. It'll get stuck a little bit, but honestly, if you pop your rod and don't set the hook all crazy, you pop your rod, you grab your string, and you give it a few pops, and you can usually get it loose, work it, and this thing will literally come wiggle around and come flying right up out of there, nice and smooth, and you'll be able to get your jig back. But yeah, man, that's what it is. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. If you're new to the channel, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and like I said, if you guys got any questions, talk to me. I talk back. I'm gonna go ahead and take that call. Hey, until next time, we'll see you guys on the water, baby.